Happening now, the Connecticut State Colleges and Universities Board of Regents is meeting to discuss the search for an interim chancellor.
And as we've been reporting now, this all comes after the former chancellor, his replacement, and the board chair all stepped down in the past year, all amid some controversies here. Amanda Callahan's your reporter live here in the studio right now with an update on the meeting tonight. Amanda?
Well, Aaron and Mark, that meeting just wrapped up a few minutes ago. It was about an hour and a half long, and nearly that entire time was spent in executive session. Before the board adjourned, they did say that no action was taken that needed to be publicly addressed.
Tonight's meeting agenda is short. There's no public comment session, and within the first few minutes, the board elected a temporary chair who almost immediately moved the meeting to a private discussion. The main focus on that agenda, the search for an interim chancellor.
Discuss preliminary drafts and notes, as well as personnel matters.
Our I-team has been following developments with the top leaders at CSCU since the beginning. Last spring, former Chancellor Terrence Cheng was made a special advisor to the board after a state audit found thousands of dollars worth of questionable spending like travel and entertainment. John Maduka was then named interim chancellor, but last month he was put on administrative leave and then resigned. Documents obtained by our I-team found Maduka was under investigation for sexual harassment. Then just this week, the Board of Regents chair Marty Guay resigned. In the complaint filed against Maduka, a woman says she did not report the harassment sooner because she says Guay told her previously he had fired a woman for filing a sexual assault complaint. These incidents now leaving positions to be filled at the top of the CSCU system. Currently, Karen Buffkin, CSCU's general counsel, is leading the system. She is part of tonight's meeting.
Governor Lamont says that he plans to appoint a new chair for the Board of Regents by the end of this week. Reporter Amanda Callahan, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.